I'm Henrietta Asiamah. I attended Girls Prep Bronx Middle School and Elementary School. I started Girls Prep it was in the middle of fifth grade. And I believe that was in 2015. I graduated from Girls Prep Bronx Middle School in 2017. And I currently attend Monroe College.
Are there any, memories that stand out to you when someone mentioned, someone were to come up to you and was like, "Oh, you attended girls prep." Anything that stands out from your time there? Maybe it's a teacher, maybe it's a moment. Just curious about, when you look back on your experience, what comes to mind?
It was a big transition for me because first when I came from Ghana. Right then there, like I went straight to school, and Girls Prep was the first place first school that I've ever been to here. And it was a total different experience for me because back in school, like in Ghana, it was totally different. And Girls Prep, they made me feel so welcomed. I felt right into it. And one memory that I remember was that like they called me out of class and they took me to a separate room. And this is when they check your reading skills, your writing skills, what you know, what you don't know. And I remember this teacher, I will never forget her name. She's called Miss Spritzer, but she left the school sadly. She helped me, like I was reading and she was helping me pronounce the words, how to spell them, how to write them. And I caught on to it right then and there because in Ghana, nobody will sit and help you. But with Girls Prep, you always had that one teacher, or there was not even that one teacher. There was always a teacher there to help you. Like if you don't understand something, there's extra classes that would help you like read, write. This was in fifth grade, and I still remember this day till now.
That's lovely. And the fact that you had, that you're able to remember having a community behind you, your teachers supporting you. And then also, it's difficult when you're coming from, a different, you move from Ghana, the culture is different, right? It's so much you have to, and again, not being, having to get used to the environment here. And so the transition must have been very hard for you. I can see how it might have impacted you, but I'm so glad that you had teachers who supported you along the way. That's so great to hear. And also, I have here in my notes that you have younger siblings. Tell me more about that.
Okay, it's Chelsea and Aaliyah. Okay, so for them, they were born here. So they started from kindergarten, I believe, or kindergarten or first grade, one of them. I had to like take them to school every day. I was with them every time. And it felt like I built a pathway for them, especially attending Girls Prep because it's family based. So everybody knows each other. And it made me feel like, ooh, I had to pave a way for them. And Girls Prep helped shape that because of the core values. So yeah, it really helped me.
Oh man, that's amazing. You know what? I just the other day I was interviewing another Girls Prep alumni, and she also has younger siblings at Girls Prep. I love hearing that, it like you said, what you said is stood out to me. You said it's family based. It's really all about community coming together as a family, and it's a really important value. You don't see that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
schools, but I'm so happy that your siblings had the opportunity to go to a school where education, there's high quality education, right? I'm so glad that you were able to lead the way, and now you're kind of just leading them towards that path. I heard earlier about, again, you came from Ghana. It's difficult. You had to adapt to the culture, right? Because you weren't a native here, and so your siblings had the chance to grow up here, but you didn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of had to adapt. And so, how did that experience influence who you are today? Just having not, having that culture based kind of like you kind of had to grow into the family. How did that influence who you are today?
When you're growing up, you always have this family member or this family group that like you grow up in such a respectful way. And for me, it was kind of the same thing. Like you've been raised to be respectful, to be diligent, to follow your dreams and your path. And coming to Girls Prep as well, the core values, merit, responsibility, scholarship. Those core values honestly stood out to me because it's something that I see in my culture, something that it related to me right there and there. And it wasn't something new for me because I was able to catch on to it because of the core values that they had for us, which is also very common in my culture. So I was able to, adapt to it very quickly.
The core values are so important to what makes girls prep, right? And the fact that you recognize something in girls prep, the values in girls prep that related back to your culture, right? And you know what? Something that I've noticed when people who are not born within the United States or coming from another country and coming in, when they're first coming in, right? They're trying to adapt. But also trying to find a common thread, right? When they come to a place that's not familiar, that's not home. And they try to make it home by finding that common thread. The fact that you were able to relate to, the core values that girls prep to your culture, I think it's just so amazing. And you've definitely adapted, you definitely have grown. And now you're at Monroe College. What was that process like applying for college, graduating high school? Like, what was the feeling? What was the process? Because I spoke to some girls prep alumni who right now they're either applying to college or they're in the process of accepting, accepting colleges and going to college. So, what was that experience like for you, and how did girls prep play a role in that?
I'm still happy to have a good college counselor in girls prep, Miss Playtest. She was very helpful with that. And imagine like having a whole bunch of kids that you have to, direct to high school. There's a lot of work. But she was able to help all of us. And with me, I had Miss Playtest, I had Miss Green, all these other teachers. I had Miss Lee. She actually chose the high school that she wanted me to go to. And actually, I listened to that. And the high school that I went to was really good. Health Professions and Human Services. And with that high school as well, they also helped like me like focus on my career path, what I wanted to do. And honestly, for me, let me just be honest. In girls prep, the core values has always stick to me. So merit, for example, merit has something is something that I always like stick with. Like if you don't know how to do something, ask for help, try hard, keep building up your ways to get to where you're supposed to be. And it has always been with me. So I took that along with me in high school. Even though classes were tough, I still kept going. I still kept trying. Applying to college was very difficult for me because I started thinking about my family situation, being able to, whether to be able to afford for it or not. And it was difficult, but I was still able to endure and go through with it. And surprisingly, I was able to get a full ride to Monroe College, which now I attend. And with high school admissions and college admissions, Gospel constantly kept checking up on me. How's it going? How far have you gotten? All of that. So yeah.
I love that. Showing that core value, right, of responsibility, making sure accountability, making sure that I just love that to hear that Ms. Playtez and all of the staff members at Girls Prep were fully behind you and rooting for you as you applied to high school and then now you're in college. And congratulations on getting a full ride to Monroe. That doesn't come very often. You don't get the opportunity very often. What is your current
Yes,
stage
I
of?
am a freshman in my third semester. It's kind of different in Monroe. We have 3 semesters. I'm in my third semester now in nursing school.
Wow, nursing. So how did you come to that kind of career path? What kind of influenced you to say I want to go into nursing? Or I've heard some stories where people say, well, I wanted to do this and then I decided I wanted to do something else. Or has this been something that you always I know you went to the health and professionals
Mhm.
school.
I actually wanted to be a nurse in the army, or I wanted to be a labor and delivery nurse. But the army, my parents are like, no, no, no. But it's okay. But my next option is nursing the labor and delivery department. But nursing because growing up, I have a scar on my nose. The nurses in Ghana were very, I don't know, they're different. It wasn't like nurses here. Nurses here are much more helpful. They know what they're doing. And I just like the way the culture is. And I'm a person that I like to help people in general. So I know that's the way that I would like to help people.
Oh, I love hearing that. That's amazing that you want to go to nursing, that you want to help others. Again, it really goes into those core values of responsibility, merit, yeah,
That's the
in sisterhood, right? Sisterhood, so important, right? To help others, especially those who may not be able to help themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
For you example, you came here to get a better life and a better education, but you struggled, right? But because
Yeah.
you had the support of Girls Prep, you were able to thrive. You were able to really be successful, and now you're here. So yeah, I loved how you're basically giving back to your community and to others. That's so wonderful to hear. And you're doing amazing things. It's lovely. I wish I went to a charter school, but I wish I had the support that you did. I unfortunately didn't stay in touch with my teachers. I kind of, lost contact. I don't hear a lot of people say that they're still in touch with, their high school counselors or even their like elementary school teachers, middle school teachers. It really shows that your teachers care about you, that even now to this day, they're still checking in on you. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you, I've been hearing all the stories about Girls Prep alumni, and one common thing I've hearing is just this like the powerful impact of having a community backing you, right? It really does take a village to raise a child, to raise a student and a scholar to be the best they can be. And so now you're in college. What has that experience like transitioning from, again, you're in your freshman year, your third semester. So how are things going? How are classes? How's social life? How is all that going?
With COVID, I'll say it's a little different because it wasn't, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at all. But COVID had definitely changed things for me because, my social experience is basically changed over time. Because first we were all together, we were seeing people, and now it's just online. But recently we started going into class. We started going in person in class, and I don't know. It's been good. It's been good so far. Classes has just been. It's a little challenging. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm still trying my best. Yeah, that's about it. I'm just trying my best.
I mean, that's as good as anyone can do, right? And college is a totally different culture. It's totally different
Mm-hmm.
from high school, middle school, and so it takes time to I remember I first went to college, and it took time to transition. Because you become more independent, right? Core value of responsibility. Like no one's there to tell you you need to do your homework. You need to do you're learning now. You have to take on more responsibility. But I think with all you've done and from what you've told me, right? You already had the experience of being kind of moved from one kind of place to another and having to adapt. And I think now you're kind of at that same road again where you have to learn how to adapt to a different culture and environment. But it seems like you're doing well. And again, I think you're going to thrive because you've got the support of Girls Prep and your family and your community. So I wanted to just ask the question because we have, of course, your fellow sisters of Girls Prep who are either graduating or we have new students coming into the public prep family. So we just wanted to, ask you if you could, just leave maybe a message for our incoming families or students. Just like what advice would you give them, or what would you tell them about Girls Prep?
Whatever you learn in Girls Prep is not just to be learned. It's something to carry along with you. You'd be surprised to see something that you've already read, something that you've already experienced in Girls Prep, to see them again in high school and college. To make sure to listen to whatever advice has been given to you in school or in class. The teachers are very great. Stay in touch with your teachers, your classmates. They're always going to be there to help you. Stay focused. That's all.
I think those are great pieces of advice. I really love how you said that it's not just, you're not just there to learn, but you're there to learn and take something with you from your learning experience. And I certainly think you have taken all that you've learned from Girls Prep with you to get to where you are now. And so
Mhm.
I thank you for those wonderful pieces of advice. And so we are at the end of our interview. But I thank you so much, Henrietta, for joining me. This is our first season. So we are excited to launch this with all of our alumni. And we really just want to put a spotlight on all the hard work that all of you Girls Prep and now our Boys Prep alumni have done. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
The Public Prep Podcast is produced in partnership with True Story FM. Engineering by Pete Wright. Music this week is by Paper Planes. If your podcast app allows ratings and reviews, we hope you'll consider doing just that for our show. But the best thing that you can do to support all the inspiring voices of our public prep scholars is simply to share the show with a friend or colleague. Thank you for listening.